It had almost killed him, but Stephen F. Austin felt good about his mission to Mexico City. Although he had been unable to separate Texas from Coahuila, he did strike off other items on his checklist. Mexican authorities revoked the anti-immigration clause of the law of April 6th, endorsed the impresario system, even promised judicial reform and tariff relief. More importantly, he had met President Santana and forged a personal association. Austin believed that the president was simpatico with his goals for Texas, and that many additional reforms would spring from his office. He also thought that the journey's successes validated his methods. Mexicans were, as he had always said, reasonable people, and one could reason with them. A person really could catch more flies with sugar than vinegar. He had saved face with and satisfied his obligations to his colonist. On December 10, 1833, Austin departed the capital and began his return trip to Texas. Not wishing to subject himself again to the rigors of a sea voyage, he shared a carriage with Congressman Luis de la Rosa and two other traveling companions. 10 years earlier, he had traveled the same road. During that time, conditions in his colonies had greatly improved. Yet, here in the Mexican interior, circumstances remained the same, or had even grown worse. Representative government had not produced the advantages that he expected it would a decade before. The Constitution of 1824 had been in place for 9 years, but many Mexicans still opposed its basic tenets. Austin concluded that the policies and practices of the Roman Catholic Church retarded Mexico's political, economic, legal, and intellectual development. He recorded these views in his travel diary.
What a pity that Rome did not set down as a dogma that the man who should leave his property to open roads, canals, to establish schools, foment agriculture and the arts, should go straight to heaven as soon as dead. Rome, Rome, until the Mexican people shake off thy superstitions and wicked sects, they can neither be a republican nor a moral people.
Austin may have spoken Spanish like a native. He may have wished the best for the Mexican government. He may have urged his colonists to obey Mexican laws. But his worldview remained American, Protestant, and, frankly, somewhat priggish. At Lagos de Moreno, Austin bid his friends goodbye, abandoned the carriage, hired a servant, and mounted a horse to continue his journey north. Riding hard, he arrived in San Luis Potosí on December 24th, celebrating Christmas Day there. On January 2nd, 1834, he arrived in Saltillo. The following day, Austin entered the office of Pedro Lemus, who had recently won appointment to General Terran's old position as Commandant General of the Eastern Interior Provinces. Austin had met Lemus in Mexico City and considered him a friend. The impresario was, therefore, completely gobsmacked when Lemus informed him that he was under arrest. Austin's indignant letter of October 2nd, or rather the sentiments expressed in it, had returned to bite him. His exceedingly rash suggestion that the bare ajuntamento should form an independent state government without federal sanction shocked members of that council. Not wishing to appear complicit, they forwarded the missive to the state capital, which had only recently transferred to Monclova. Once there, it became a ticking time bomb. The acting governor Francisco Fadari y Villaseñor, read the letter and issued an arrest warrant for Austin. The governor then informed the federal authorities of Austin's transgression. Predictably, the letter infuriated Gomez Farias, who also ordered Austin's arrest and his return to Mexico City. An armed guard ushered him back to the capital where, in February 1834, they delivered him to cell 15 in the Inquisition prison. Austin now began the worst period of his life. For 3 months, Austin occupied a 16 by 13-foot cell. Its tiny skylight admitted reading light only from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Initially, his only visitors were his lawyer and Father Michael Muldoon, a priest who had earlier served in Texas. Boredom was Austin's greatest enemy. He shared crumbs with a prison mouse, which eventually became so tame he could pet it. His rodent companion supplied a welcome diversion as his jailers denied him books. The circumstances of his confinement improved slightly when Austin loaned 30 pesos to his prison's commandant and 10 more to a guard. If they ever repaid the advance, Austin never mentioned it. The impresario assumed that war party machinations were behind his arrest and castigated its members as
inflammatory men, political fanatics, political adventurers, would-be great men, vain talkers, and visionary fools.
In April 1834, Santana took control of the executive office and released Austin from solitary confinement. In June, probably on Santana's instructions, officials transferred Austin to Acordada prison, a vast improvement over the Inquisition's dank cell. In his new digs, Austin now enjoyed a larger, brighter room that sported a small balcony overlooking a busy street. Later, authorities transferred the prisoner again, this time to the prison of deputation on the city's main plaza. Its accommodations were no better than those in Acordada prison, but its centralized location enabled more visitors and easier access to news. Austin's case flummoxed the Mexican legal system. For months, his hearings bounded from one court to another. Each time, the judge ruled the case outside his jurisdiction. 8 months following his arrest, it seemed clear that Austin had violated some law, but Mexican judges could not agree on exactly which law he had broken. In the end, it seemed easier to decide not to decide. Meanwhile, while the authorities dithered, Austin remained caged. On October 15th, Texas lawyers Spencer Houston Jack and Peter Grayson arrived in the capital to provide counsel and assistance. Realizing that the case might take months, even years, to play out in the courts, Jack and Grayson devoted their labors to securing bail for their client. Grayson utilized enigmatic language to describe the process.
This could only be effected by the exertion of personal influence with the judge. It is needless to detail here the various efforts that were made to influence the judge to grant bail to the prisoner.
Or, to state it more directly, the legal team employed the one procedure that always seemed to work with Mexican officials. They bribed the judge. On December 25th, 1834, Austin posted bond and walked out of the prison of deputation. It was the best Christmas present he could possibly receive. Austin was out of prison, but not a free man. The bail terms demanded that he remain in the city until the courts determined what to do with him. Still, Austin did not suffer excessively. He celebrated the new year in high style. He lodged in a lavish hotel. He attended operas, masquerades, even a ball hosted by the British minister. Austin also spent time with a very sprightly young lady, with whom he admitted he was particularly pleased. In July 1835, a Mexican court brought both his tribulations and amusements to a close. It ruled that Austin fell under the terms of a general amnesty law for political prisoners. After 18 months' detention, the impresario was truly free. His first instinct was to return to Texas. Yet, he returned a radically different man than the one who left San Felipe in 1833. Given all he had endured, how could it have been otherwise?